Good afternoon, Packers fans. Aaron Nagler here with your Packers Daily Chat, coming to you live on the Cheesehead TV social channels. It is Friday. We made it. We're here. We're ready. Packers wrapping up a practice week, set to take off for Denver tomorrow to take on the Broncos on Sunday. I'm excited about this matchup. This is going to be a whale of a football game. Clearly, the Packers playing the best ball in a long time over the course of the last 3 weeks, probably 4 weeks if we're being right. And Denver on a 10-game winning streak, yet also home dogs. That's right. They are the underdogs in this game, according to Vegas. And Denver trying to, play the disrespect card, I think, a little bit, which I understand. I totally get it. But you look at the Packers, they have a really good team as well. And I think this is going to be a great football game. I can't wait. Hope you'll join us on Sunday for Watch Party. Corey and myself watching the game with Packers fans worldwide here on the Cheesehead TV YouTube channel. Let's take a look at the ThedaCare injury report. The big headline, of course, is Josh Jacobs is listed as questionable. He did, as Matt LaFleur indicated earlier today, practice this afternoon in a limited capacity. He is listed as questionable. The good news is Matthew Golden had his first full participation in a very long time, and he does not have an injury designation. So he is good to go. That's exciting. Hopefully he gets a little bit more involved on the offensive side of things. Of course, on the flip side, some unfortunate news, as you can see there. Marshawn Lloyd added a hamstring injury to the mix and did not participate in practice today. You talk about snake bit. This kid just cannot catch a break. You hate to see it. None of the guys who are within the 21-day practice window have been activated. All three of them are out, including Lloyd. You hate it for him. Hope he can get right maybe this offseason. Doesn't seem to be trending in the right direction for his possible return this year, though. But overall, pretty encouraging stuff there on the injury report all around. Lucas Van Ness listed as questionable. Savion Williams questionable. Good stuff. Hopefully we see those guys out on the field on Sunday. Of course, each and every week, talk about that injury report brought to you by our friends over at ThedaCare. Football season is all about action, and sometimes injuries happen. Whether it's a sprain, strain, or something more serious, ThedaCare Orthopedic Care is here to help you recover like a pro. Their team offers expert care for bones, joints, and muscles so you can get back to doing what you love, on the field or in the stands. Don't let pain sideline you. ThedaCare, proud sponsor of Cheesehead TV. All right, folks, how we doing? How we feeling? Well, I got some nervous Nellies over there in the comment section earlier on our posts at Cheesehead TV's YouTube page, but let's see if we got some more confidence here in the Packers Daily Chat section. Starting with Jeff, what's going on, man? Who's got two thumbs and loves talking Packers every day? This guy. Oh, and maybe you too. Thanks for joining me, man. Really appreciate it. Oh, got to give a shout out. Look at this. We got a new member of the Carry the G Club. Thank you so much for joining us and for the support. Joe, I can't believe you put that up here. You trying to trigger our esteemed colleague Brandy here. Ty Summers is now on the Bears practice squad. I get he's a Packers legend, but I don't think we need to go into the weekend talking about Ty Summers. You know what I mean? Nash, what's going on? Thanks for the super chat. Hey, Nags, how do you feel about Marvin Mims on returns? I might be more worried about him than their whole defense. Obviously, a big part of this game is going to be playing keep away from Mims and or making sure that the kicks you do get to him have enough hang time so that your coverage units can get down there and do their job. Clearly, he's coming off a game where he is the AFC Special Teams Player of the Week, a big return against the Raiders. I do think, with Whelan kicking the ball as well as he has for the most part. I know he had a bad shank this past week, but on balance over the course of the last month or so, he's been killing it. And the fact that they're going to be at altitude, maybe that actually is one thing that helps the Packers when they do have to punt, which hopefully isn't a whole lot, but Whelan should be able to pin them coffin corner style and flip the field in a way that keeps the ball away from the very dangerous returner. But it is something that they're certainly going to have to be cognizant of. You heard Matt talk about it a little bit earlier today in his press conference. Joe, what's going on, man? For some reason, as the week goes on, I feel better about the Packers' chances in this game. Drinking too much Kool-Aid? I don't think so. I think it's going to be a tough game. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Anybody thinking that the Packers are going to go in there and drop 35, 40 points should probably, dial it back a bit. But I don't doubt for a moment that it's going to be a close, hard fought game. Hopefully, the Packers can get up a couple scores later as the contest moves along in the second half, which allows Micah Parsons and company to get after it a little bit. But we've seen with this Denver team, the closer it is, the later it is, they have again and again and again overcome late kind of deficits. And Bo Nix has really come to life in the fourth quarter of some of these games. So can't relax. It's not over until that gun hits and the clock hits 0-0. So um, I do think the Packers were going to clearly get a great game between these two teams. It is a tough assignment against this defense. But on the flip side, I do think the Packers defense can make life a bit miserable for Bo Nix. And that's not to take anything away from what he's done this year. I think he's a very young, promising quarterback in this league. But I do think Jeff Hafley's going to have something cooked up for him to make him, you know, at least second guessing himself at times. Of that, I'm pretty sure. Bill, how are you, sir? Good to see you. Thanks for the super chat. I'll be going to the game with my two sons. The last time I was there to see a game was Favre to Jennings OT game. That was beautiful. For me, the only concern and the key to the game is the offensive line. Yeah, Bill, I share that sentiment, especially when it comes to any third down they might face, whether it is short, medium, or long. That's why I keep talking about throughout this week about I don't think any Packers fan should be surprised if they do kind of maybe not lean into the run the way they did against the Vikings, probably not to that extent, but certainly I do think they're going to try and run the ball and play a little ball control. The last thing you want is Jordan Love dropping back 40 times in this game against this pass rush. You do not want to live there. Now, it's entirely possible perhaps the game script leads to that path, and then you got your work cut out for you. But I think the best course of action is to, you know, play some ball control, play short game when it comes to Jordan Love, make sure he knows to hit his check downs, and do commit to the running game. Even if it is just Emmanuel Wilson and Chris Brooks, you've got to run the ball in this game. You cannot allow this front to get after it and pin their ears back. As great as Jordan Love has been against the blitz, this is a team that doesn't necessarily have to blitz to get to the quarterback. And it makes it real tough when they're allowed to play a bunch of different coverages behind that four-man rush. You want to be running the ball in this game, and that's no easy task. I understand that. This is a good run defense, but got to stick with it. I suspect LaFleur will. I'm Jinrat. What's going on? Thanks for the super chat, man. Broncos won 7 games by 4 points or less, 2 against the Raiders, 1 each against the Giants, Jets, and Bengals. Pack 24-10. Woo, baby. Oh, and you didn't even mention the Commanders game, which they were lucky to win with that swatted pass at the end. No question about it. They've won close games against some subpar competition, but the Packers have also lost games against subpar competition. Any given Sunday, you don't know what's going to happen this year, especially. But that said, it is a week-to-week league in the sense that it's a matchup-driven league. And I think the matchups, I'm not going to say they favor Denver, but they certainly have a couple of them on their side in this game, especially playing at home. But I do think the Packers are probably the more talented team across the board, but that doesn't automatically equal a W. That's why they play the games. Now, that said, yes, the Packers should feel confident heading into this one, no doubt. Steve-O, what's going on, man? Watson, Reed, Wicks, Golden, and a healthy O-line. Gimme. I hear you, man. Especially the Golden thing could be so sweet. Clearly, with Reed being back for a second week, probably expanded his kind of part of the play sheet a little bit, I would suspect. Against a team that plays a lot of man coverage, that could come in handy. You saw against Detroit in week 1, they really utilized Reed to good effect. And this is a team that I think is much better in the secondary, but still can probably get got in man coverage with certain concepts, especially with Reed in the slot. That's the hope right there. E4, what's up, man? Sure hope the Packers allocate their resources in a more effective manner than the Broncos. Is that okay? YouTube, Jesus fucking Christ. I don't even know what that's about. People so angry. People so mad. What else we got here, folks? We got Dennis here saying hello. What's up, Dennis? How are you? Uh, Jay Beckles Gun Shop. What's up? What can Green Bay do to help out the offensive line? Well, there's all the traditional stuff. Keep a tight end in, chip with the backs, try to maybe possibly slide coverage to Benito, etc. But I think the Broncos do a really good job of trying to keep you off balance with their front, with who's coming, who's dropping, and things like that. It's hard to say with any kind of blanket kind of certainty, like, oh, this is the thing you've got to do, because certainly once you do it a number of times, they're going to start to counter it, right? I also do think, as much as I've talked about the run game, I think some misdirection, the end arounds to Jaden Reed, which we saw were certainly effective against the Bears. And I think draws and delays, probably a good game to kind of bust some of that stuff out. Um, Certainly, this is a defense that likes to pin their ears back, that front in particular. Let that coverage start backpedaling a couple steps and then hit the delay, as you invite the rush up a little bit. I think intermittently sprinkling that throughout could probably help the O-line, but more than anything, let them run the ball, let them fire off. Any offensive lineman will tell you, especially early in games, you want to be firing off the ball and trying to exert your physicality, exert your will over your opponent, as opposed to backstepping, backpedaling, down and down, down out, and letting these pass rushers get into you. That doesn't mean they're going to be entirely successful doing that, or they're going to be incredibly productive, but I do think you can help your offensive line by doing it, especially again early in the game. Hype Television, what's up, Doug Hype? Shout out to Andrew and all the fam who came out to the Carry the G meetup at Hagermeister Park in Green Bay. Looked like it had a lot of fun. Love Hagermeister. It was great seeing a bunch of Carry the G on offer. You guys look like you had a great time. Shout out everybody who showed up. Looked like tons of fun. M. Basowitz, what's going on? Man, a healthy LVN these last games would be huge. Certainly help the rotation, right? We've kind of seen, especially in this last game, how if a team is allowed to keep ahead of the sticks and grind out these long drives, especially for touchdowns, keep games close. The Packers definitely wore down in that contest against the Bears, and having another fresh body out there who's able to be part of that front rotation certainly help. I don't think that solves anything. It's not like, oh, we're set now because LVN is back, but it should help in the war of attrition. Definitely, especially in a game like this where they are playing at altitude and thinner air, and got to think the longer this game goes on, the better for the Broncos it is if it's close. Packers got to try to at least get up a couple scores by late in the third quarter. E4, what's up? YouTube wouldn't let us use the word beat as in beat the Broncos on Wednesday. Oh, right. Well, it's sensitive around here. It's all very sensitive. What else we got here, folks? J-Rock, how you doing? Green Bay doesn't seem to get holding calls lately. Is this because the refs aren't calling holding on Micah, so they can't call it on us either? If so, would you take that deal? I'll tell you what. I don't know about deals, but I will gladly understand if things are officiated consistently for both teams. Then I have pretty minimal issue with it. Now, it does get a little frustrating when there's a clear violation, a clear hold right in front of the official that goes uncalled. That it's hard to explain away, or to say, well, at least they're not calling it on the other team or the other way. Like, especially for a team in like the Packers, where so much of their defense is predicated on trying to get you behind the sticks so that they can get after you with their pass rush. Overcoming 1st and 20 via rather than a 2nd and 8 or a 2nd and 5 or whatever, it's a world of difference. It could be the deciding factor in a game. Probably definitely would have been a deciding factor in that Bears game. So I mean, look, I just think Mike is a very unique cat. Yeah, you guys know I was pounding that table, week 3, week 4, I've just kind of come to accept the fact that he is a hard cat to officiate, and they're probably going to err while doing so. It's certainly obvious at times that he is being held, but he so rarely gets that call. It is frustrating, no doubt. Isaiah, what's up, man? My wife's a Broncos fan. We're having a fun little party with the family Sunday. Go Pack, go. A house divided. I like it. Godspeed, man. Trying to keep your cool. Don't get too crazy when the Packers win. Bill, what's going on, man? We have a major advantage. We have Carry the G beer and a cool jingle. They have Coors Light. No contest. This is probably the greatest point made all week.
Well, we carry the G wherever we may be, so creamy and cold, and from the land of the green and gold.
Carry the G beer, the official beer of Cheesehead TV. That is an excellent point, Bill. I hadn't thought of it that way, but you are 100% correct. I like it. I like it a lot. M. Basowitz, what's going on? Never miss a watch party, even last week from Orlando Hotel. Just wanted to say thank you for those. Also, we win in this week, 24-17. Well, first of all, thank you so much for joining us on Watch Party each and every week, especially given the fact that you were on the road. Really appreciate that. And yes, I do think as far as your score prediction, it's going to be that type of game. I do think it'll be maybe low 20s, probably for both teams. I would suspect it's going to be like 23-20. 24-21, something like that. But yeah, that's about where I'm thinking this is going to land. I do think both defenses are going to have some answers for both of these offenses. I do think Jordan Love is going to be the difference in this game comparative to his counterpart in Bo Nix, who, again, I think is talented as hell, but Hafley's going to have some things for him, definitely. MAD, what's up? Sad that Hafley might leave. This is funny because Corey literally texted me last night. I was on my way out, and he texted just as I was leaving the house, and he said, that Hafley presser yesterday was gold. And because I was in a hurry, I just responded with, yeah, it's going to suck when he takes that Giants gig. And then he just responded, I hate you. And he did, but he went on to point out, it does feel like everything's sped up now. Like there used to be a time where you were with a team for a good 4 or 5 years. And then, yes, hopefully your team made a run. You won a Super Bowl, and then you got hired. But all of that has been sped up. Certainly Hafley has done really, really quality work in Green Bay just in the short time he's been in the building. I would just make this pitch to owners everywhere. He doesn't get to bring Micah Parsons with him. So clearly you shouldn't hire Jeff Hafley. There. That's my pitch for keeping him in Green Bay. Send that to all the owners that aren't Packers owners. There you go. Jerry Mannion, what's going on, man? We need Micah to go Captain Inzano and open a can. I like it. I like where your head's at. That's a good time. That's a good time right there. Doug Hype, thanks again, man. Anyone looking for a bar for a meetup? Hagermeister Park Bar, home of the Packers in 1919, is amazing. Corey, the owner, was extremely hospitable. Yeah, we talked to Corey when we were there prior to the Bengals game. He's a really good dude. And the fact that he carried the G on the regular is clearly one of his greatest attributes. Come on now. Oh, Karina says, hoping 27-20. We seem to be winning if we at least hit 27. Yeah, I'll just say again, Broncos at home with that defense. Certainly the Packers have the capability of hitting 27, but that does feel like a lot of points against this defense. And I do think both teams are going to want to at least try to possess the ball in a way that the Packers haven't really been doing over the course of the last 2 or 3 games. Well, we see. Steve says, we're about to put the league on notice. I love this idea. Going to Denver, smack them around, come out with a big W, by multiple scores. Maybe they do score 30. Yeah, people would start talking about the Packers in a big way if that were to happen. Now, that said, I think that's a bit pie in the sky, but I love the idea. If for no other reason, the Packers have had a real tough time in Denver, much like the Broncos have had a tough time at Lambeau. We've had brief shining moments. Bill mentioned the big Favre to Jennings first play of overtime touchdown years ago, but those moments have been few and far between. Plus, there's the whole Super Bowl revenge factor. I hate playing the Broncos for that one reason. That's kind of the worst. Menace, how are you, sir? I know we got a game to worry about now, but we have to win next week because I've been talking shit for 5 straight days and they still suck. Hey, man, every man has to have a code. Every man must travel his own path. And if your path is talking junk about the Bears for 3 weeks straight, Godspeed, sir. But you're right. We do have a game to focus on here on Sunday first before we get back into that. MAD, thanks again. I have a feeling that we will be the 7 seed for the prophecy of 2010 Super Bowl team to be fulfilled. Nah, they're going to be the 2 seed. That's where I'm thinking. But we'll see. A lot of ball game left. Jason, what's going on, man? How did you like Riley's performance last week? How did he grade out? I don't look at grades. I just look at the film, and I thought he played okay. I think, they didn't utilize him, but I think 9-10 snaps. But he looked like a big man in the middle who was hard to move. Certainly, I think you'll probably see a bit more of him this week, maybe a little bit of Bohanna as well. But I would be lying if I told you I'm like some expert on defensive line play, especially big guys trying to just essentially take on double teams or maybe press the pocket a little bit. But he seemed to hold up okay. We'll see. I suspect he'll get a little bit more run here this week. Don Vito, what's up? Honestly, how damaging is a loss to Denver? I mean, it all depends on what happens with other teams, especially in the NFC. I mean, I don't really pay attention too much to that kind of thing. I want to win the game. Obviously, that's the number one point and the most important thing. But after that, you can win the game and have everyone in the NFC win all their games, and you're still right where you were, right? So just win the game. That is number one. As far as like in the grand scheme of the 2025 season, you never want to lose, but it doesn't kill them depending on other outcomes, And of course, it doesn't count against the division, doesn't count against the conference. So you can take some solace in that, but you got to win your games, man, especially in an NFC that is A, as wide open as it is, and B, clumped together. I mean, look no further than the Bears, who went from the number 1 seed to the 7 seed in 1 week. You got to win your games, man. Got to win them. All right, folks, I got to get going. I can't thank you enough for hanging out, talking Packers each and every day, Monday through Friday, right here on the Cheesehead TV social channels. Please do me a monster favor and hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then tell your friends and tell your family. Cheesehead TV, we are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great weekend. See you Sunday on Watch Party. Go Pack Go.